March 10th, 2016, about 1:45 in the afternoon. I'm in a therapy session. I, the recovering people pleaser, have been working for about 3 years and 4 months, give or take, in a body-based therapy called EMDR, which I will elaborate on later. And I've had some breakthroughs along the way. So I've had depression that has lifted. I've had anxiety that has settled down. I've had clarity come to me, understanding, insight. But this day, March 10th, was like no other. On this day, something clicked. There was a switch that kind of flipped on, I guess. And I was sitting there with my therapist, working through old feelings, old emotions, and doing what is an eye movement type of therapy. And all of a sudden, this thought entered my head. It entered my whole body. I, Ariana, the recovering people pleaser, could now tell the whole world to fuck off. And it landed just like that. No other wording would do it justice. I came out of that visit to my therapist a changed woman. And I didn't exactly know where I was or what was going on, what was happening, but I knew one thing. I knew I was me. And I hadn't known that prior, and I hadn't even really realized it. Because I had grown up with trauma. Developmental trauma, complex trauma, there are different flavors of it. But in a nutshell, it was trauma that was affecting me and had turned me into that people pleaser as a coping mechanism that I had learned when I was a child. So to kind of understand exactly what happened, it's good to have an understanding of what trauma is. So there's, to kind of put it in a nutshell, 2 types of trauma. We've got simple trauma. So you say you're in a car accident and it's a single event and you can't react and it's traumatizing and you can have PTSD, flashbacks. And then there's the more complicated, the complex developmental trauma that happens over time, especially when you're young, even when you're a teenager. And it's the little things that people don't notice that much. So it's your parents not validating what you're doing. It's your parents or other adults shaming you and putting you down. And as a child, you need to feel safe. So you can't really push back. So trauma really is all about not so much what happens out there, but how we respond to it. And moreover, not being able to respond to it. When we are someplace where we are either unsafe or trapped, we can't respond to trauma. So if we're in a car accident, we're kind of trapped. It happens so fast, we can't respond. All this information, all this sensory input is coming at us. We're a young child. It's a big, scary world. Our parents are, they're godlike when we're young. Other adults, same thing. They're giving us their input, and we can't always respond because we don't feel empowered or we feel scared. If we don't feel safe, we especially can't respond. And that's just emotional safety, let alone physical safety. So when we receive this kind of input, when our bodies receive the sensory input, say the car accident, say as a child, and we can't push and respond back out, in order to process the incoming, we need to process it out. When that can't happen, it gets stuck here, in the body. And the body, by the body we mean everything in the body, but mostly the autonomic nervous system, or just the nervous system. Your nervous system pumps out all the neurochemicals that tell you how you feel. Your feelings are in your body. They come from your nervous system. When trauma happens and you don't get to push that energy out, it's stuck, and now your nervous system can't do what it needs to do. Your nervous system is supposed to guide you in life. That's what feelings are for. They're guidance. You try something, I don't feel like I like it, okay, you try something else. That's what a healthy nervous system does. When your nervous system is traumatized, then the trauma gets to tell the nervous system what to do, and now you're responding to your environment from trauma instead of from your authentic self. So what does healing look like then? So we've got this trauma and we want it out. There's a lot of therapy out there that's about talking. And you talk about it, you think enough about it, you can fix it. You can see the pattern. I can see I'm acting just like my mother. I have that same trigger. I do the same thing that she does. I can change that. You can kind of change the behavior, but you're not usually changing what's underneath it in your body. And the past 10, 20 years or so especially, there's been a large movement among, these are neuroscientists, therapists, researchers, who are understanding that healing of trauma comes from the body up. They call it bottom-up healing instead of that cognitive top-down healing. There are various types of bottom-up, body-based therapies that help you release the trauma that is trapped in your nervous system. When I went through my breakthrough on March 10th of 2016, I was so changed and so inspired and so in awe of what healing could be that I began to feel like this is something people need to know about. This is something that needs to be supported, encouraged, and not only that people who wish to receive the healing should know about, but that the people, the therapists and others who are delivering the healing services are also aware of. In that spirit, I started Hello Trauma. What I am aiming to do and what I have been doing is offering a place of safety and support for people who are looking to heal their trauma, are in the process of healing their trauma, or don't even know where to start with healing their trauma, but know that something's wrong. I started out with a support group, and then I moved into an online education course, and I also offer coaching. And my grander vision is to create a community of both people who are healing from trauma and others who are able to provide that healing. And there's overlap. Some of the providers want the healing too and need it. If we as a community come together and understand that trauma healing is not about that shame that we feel and that depression that we feel, that that's our body's reaction to trauma, then we can take away some of that stigma, or a lot of that stigma, attached to healing, and go out there and do the work. It's not easy to heal from trauma. It's very uncomfortable. When you're healing it from your body, you're going to feel it from your body. It's going to bring things up and out. What you're doing is you're taking that sensory input, you're processing it, and now through therapies, you're pushing it out. It takes courage, it takes commitment, and it also takes community. Because we heal in relation to others, we heal in relationship. We were traumatized in relationship, we're going to heal through relationship as well. Hello Trauma is about community, we're about relationship, we're about commitment, and we're about courage. I encourage all of you to join and contact me anytime with any questions. I'd love to talk more about the community we are creating at Hello Trauma. Thank you very much.